Yo, what's going on YouTube? It's your boy Light back with another YouTube video. In today's video, we're gonna be doing let's review Iron Man from 2008. So yeah, this is gonna be about a part of my ongoing series on my channel. Here, just reviewing the MCU, I guess again as a whole. And in today's video, we're gonna do part one, I guess you could say, or the first review Iron Man 2008, or sorry, Iron Man from the year 2008. So yeah, this is gonna be. I'm gonna try and semi-formal review this. Yeah, I'm gonna try and semi-formal review this. I've talked about this movie before on my channel, and most of the MCU, but I've never really talked about it very formally. So I'm gonna try and talk about it a little bit formally. Okay, so yeah, Iron Man, the birthplace of the MCU, as many people like to call it, the first movie in the MCU, kickstart of the MCU. First, I want to talk a bit about some stuff in terms of what I liked and what I disliked. So, firstly, let's get into what I kind of disliked. Now, this could be just kind of like maybe I watched it too many times, but what I've noticed in the movie is personally, from a personal standpoint, is I've noticed there's no real like wow factor. There's no plot twist, or actually there is kind of, but I feel like leading up to the big plot twist, I guess you could say that Obadiah Stane was a bad guy. Um, I'm not gonna say. I mean, from what it was meant to be, I guess it's was meant to be more so kind of like a villainous turn of sorts. And I mean, yeah, it was meant to be like some sort of villainous turn, but really it felt as if they're trying for a villain and they needed somebody to be the villain, so they picked a guy that was just there. I felt like Obadiah Stane was kind of just like a lackluster villain, not too good in my opinion, but I mean he still holds up. Like in terms of like if I were doing a national ranking of all of the villains of the MCU, honestly he'd rank somewhere in like lower middle area. Like he's not anything good, to be honest with you guys. I just feel like he's a more stereotypical villain. So I'm not a biggest fan of Obadiah Stane as a villain, or the Ironmonger. Not a huge fan. And also another thing too, you didn't see much of Ironmonger. Like I felt like it could have been a little bit more interesting in the fact maybe perhaps like Ironmonger could have came in like a little bit to the end. He beat up Tony Stark, just beat him up thoroughly with the Ironmonger suit, and then Iron Man like be like a proving point and then fight him. I would say that's like the biggest problem. I know I'm touching into other movies as well, but that's like the biggest problem with the Iron Man movies, is the villain just gets essentially revealed at the end and then he just beats them up. So that's exactly like there's no point of like damn except for Iron Man 3, I would say. But I mean there's no real point of damn, this guy's beating Tony's ass. Like, oh, is he really gonna lose? Like, it's like from the get go, you're just like, yeah, he's gonna win. So I mean, there's that. Another thing, I know it's a bit kind of critical of it, but I mean, some of the acting is not too good. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. No, some of the acting wasn't too good. I mean, don't get me wrong, Robert Downey Jr. was actually he's like he did a very good job in this role, and obviously he's done a good job. But he was like the only one who was really acting really good. I mean, Jeff Bridges, who was an established actor at this point, was pretty good as well. But I mean, honestly, sometimes with Gwyneth Paltrow as Pepper, it kind of sucked at certain points. Not a huge biggest fan. I mean, she definitely got better, but I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of her in her acting in this movie. But I mean, it was alright. For the time, it's alright. It's not like the worst or anything. Now for like the good stuff, what I liked about it. I liked how okay. Firstly, I liked how it was like very original. Like I actually liked how it was very original. It was pretty good from that standpoint. It's pretty original. I mean, at this time, like, what other movies could you been like, damn, this movie's modeled off so and so, whatever. Like at this time, superhero movies were different and stuff, and this is just like a completely kind of different movie in terms of like how it's kickstarting stuff. I also liked how they sprinkled around certain things, like for example, uh, the adding of Agent Coulson was a really good plot point there. That was a pretty good plot point. Adding in Agent Coulson to kind of set up the other movies, which is pretty cool. Uh, like from what I know too, they actually plan to like set up like say stuff about like the X-Men and stuff, and like Spider-Man and stuff, but they never really did. So I mean that's all right to be fair. Like that's all right. I understand rights and stuff, but yeah, I mean they did set it up. If they added that stuff, that would have made it even better, but they didn't. So there's that. Next thing I liked was the CGI use. The CGI use was actually really good, and here it holds up really well to this day. In my opinion, it's some of the best CGI. I would say the Iron Man films are like some of the best CGI out of the MCU. I would say I thought the CGI was really good, especially for the time. For the time being, remember this is 2008, technically 2007, I guess, when they're filming and doing all this. So like again, like CGI was still in like that early kind of development, and their use of CGI and this was actually really good. I thought it was really well done. Obviously, not every like not all like the Iron Man scenes were CGI. Obviously, like for example, that ending battle when his helmet came off. That's obviously not CGI, but that was him wearing a costume. But I mean, from the other standpoints, I thought it was really good CGI wise. I thought it was pretty good. Uh, Ironmonger's suit looked a little weird at certain points, but I mean, that's okay. He's like, that's I think he's specifically supposed to look like that because, again, he essentially like just pieced this together and stuff. But I mean, again, that's all right. It's not a big problem. But like CGI pretty holds up pretty well to this day, and it's important to note as well. I was watching the IMAX enhanced version on Disney Plus, the 4K edition. So I mean, maybe perhaps it looks a little bit different if you say watching it on a DVD or something or a Blu-ray or something. But I mean, from what I seen, it was pretty good. It holds up pretty good. Like I was never like the CGI is looking bad or something. But I never once thought that during this movie. So that's pretty good. That's a plus for me. Now the third thing I liked about this movie is I thought Robert Downey Jr. is really made for this role. I thought this really birthplaced his role as Iron Man. I thought it was really cool. I thought he acted really cool. I thought he was played a very good like comic accurate Iron Man in terms of like he really acted the way he's supposed to act with a like a touch of like changes and stuff. But I mean, for the most part, it was really well done in terms of his acting and everything. So yeah, I thought Robert Downey Jr. did a really good job as Iron Man. Another thing I did like as well, I said the writing kind of before, but I actually like the writing from writing standpoint. I thought it was pretty interesting. Uh, Again, minus the stuff that I said was bad. It does hold up pretty good. It's not too bad. It's not even like too cheesy or anything. It's like perfectly made. It's not too bad. So I honestly think that's a positive in my opinion. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it though in terms of what I liked and what I disliked. Uh, I mean, obviously, my opinion on Iron Man is a little bit different. I know a lot of people think very highly of it, just because it's like the first movie in the MCU. And don't get me wrong, I definitely think that too. But personally, in my personal opinion, it's a good movie. I would just say it's just like a good movie. I wouldn't say it's like a great movie, or I wouldn't say it's like top tier MCU, or I wouldn't say it's like a goaded movie or anything. I would say it's like more of just say like a good movie, kind of going towards the middle kind of thing. Uh, in terms of like my final rating, I would honestly say like a 7.5 out of 10. It's definitely has it's good it's good things sorry about the movie, but I mean it all also has its fair share of bad things. I'm kind of happy that it did improve, so don't worry about my reviews on these movies. Don't worry. Most of them will be positive. Like I'll just obviously critique them a bit, but that's about it. So yes. Anyways, that's pretty much it though. Thanks for watching. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.